Yeah, you read up. Kids are looking after their parents, whether they have disability or whatever. So you're looking at children 12 years old, 11 years old, and you call children young carers, and they're feeling the stress as well. Because when you look at it as well, they got no life. They have to go to school, come back, look after their parents, cook, clean. You're looking at teenager as well. It's the parents supposed to look after them. But sometimes, it's so sad. It's really sad. But as the Bible said, look after your parents.
So when parents are, if you look at it, parents look after kids when kids are kind of helpless. When the cycle is reversed, it's when parents get older, then kids, they tend to push the parents away. Oh, I don't know. Was it like that back in the days?
In the Asian and the black community, we were brought up in the West Indies to look after our parents. But our parents was my grandparents. 'Cause I didn't know my parents until I come here, and they wasn't what I expected. I was expecting tall, my dad tall, dark, and handsome. He was little and short. And I look after him and he appreciate it. But today's society is to do with greed. It's all money, money, money. They don't want to look after, not all of us. Some don't want their parents being around. Oh, we wait until you're gone. Then whatever you got, we'll split it or some. So generation after generation now. It's sad.
But it's tough to look after elderly people because you never understand how, as a young kid or as a young teenager, when they walk in and they see their grandparents two generations before them, won't you think that there's a generation gap? That's why the message is not being put across.
Now, because a lot of kids of today, including my children as well, we don't see our grandchildren. Because if you're in a mixed relationship as well, that can be issues because sometimes it's control or you're not allowed to go and see maybe the men parents. So the grandkids, they missed out on that because grandma spoiled grandchildren, no matter what anybody says. you know. And then you got the woman keeps saying, oh, to the men, you're not allowed to go and see your parents. So there's a lot of parents out there, grandparents who'd love to have their children around, but because of circumstances in relationship, we're not allowed. And it is so bad. Because I love to talk about to my grandchildren about the way I was brought up. So
Mhm.
that's why they keep blackmailing me. You know? Yeah, and I love it when they come and said, Nan, yeah, Dad did this, Mom did this, yeah, and they also love it when I slap them on their bottom,
Good.
yeah. The grandkids love it. They just love it, and you get smacked, So I think a lot of grandparents are missing out on their children, and it's odd, to care for them, your parents as well.
It's difficult. I understand with the younger people now. They're constantly sort of like attached to social media and telephones because that human connection is missing, isn't it? If you have the human connection instead of connecting with your devices all the time, of course.
Yeah, but them generation gone now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even what little problem you have, you go on the internet and they think it can solve the problem. But communication, I enjoy looking after my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I enjoy looking after my mom because the things they comes out with, you know, even though they did have a bit of dementia, yeah, is they go down memory lane,
Yeah.
yeah, and I like that. So what my dad used to do, and I used to do, he used to says, right, are you going to work now? Yeah, I used to put my coat on and say, right, Dad, I'm going to work now. See you later. I'm going to the other room. Because I exactly know what he was going to do, right? As soon as I've gone through the door, you could hear him with his frame. Oh, I'm going down the stairs, yeah? And then are going in the toilet and what. But he's so independent. Don't take their independence away from them.
And yeah, it's the thing is when you sit down with them, the I think it's the same in Jamaica when you sit down around grandparents and they will tell you the story. That keeps that connection going between like a generation that's beyond their mother father generation, mothers and father generation.
But that's good though, because it's the history of what your parents used to do. I didn't know my my dad, mom, which is my grandmother, her mother, yeah, is the Morgan. And if you hear about Captain Morgan, so I think her dad was part of that as well. So
Oh,
if you learn about the history and you're looking at what, 1917, 18, cause my I think my grandmother born in 1907. Yeah. So we used to sit there, we used to comb our hair, we used to do everything. We used to listen to her, but mostly about church. We have to go to Sunday school, we had to go to church. Yeah, you don't go, you get beaten. I used to get shouted.
and they will teach you about life from their experience. It's not like what you read in the books. You are reading real life experiences, isn't it?
Yeah, I had to learn to cook from I was 6 years old, and I'm sure it is. Your parents used to do that as well. We used to have to go and fetch water for miles.